No way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Good morning, good morning. This is the No Way Jose podcast. You are watching The Morning Dump. It's our morning show where we go through the news of the day, or sometimes some old, sometimes some new. It's more of like a research type area, kind of where we go through new stuff together, articles, threads, etc. the like, and we shoot the shit along the way. Let me know if you guys can hear me, because we've had some issues with streams lately. So I do see I already have some links from you guys in the Rumble chat, because you saw the topic for today. Because I do change the title after these, just a little inside baseball. But I do try to put a little bit of a thing to catch your eye. If there's something big I'm definitely going to cover today. And so I'm definitely going to cover the new UFOs over New Jersey stuff. And so we already have links in the chat, so good on you guys. That is a good way. I will say, if there's stuff you want me to cover, drop links in the chat. I know you can do it on Rumble. I don't know about YouTube. I think YouTube's squirrely about that, but definitely Rumble you can do that. So if there's stuff you want me to, articles or whatever it is, even if it's like a Twitter link or whatever, if you're on Rumble, you can drop that in the chat, and we will look into it. I'll definitely get into that in a bit. It's gonna be, I'm not starting off with that, so hold on, Joey Poopbag. I see you in the chat. I will bring that up later. We'll peruse that article or whatever it is you have there. But I do, real quick, I already have a Rumble rant in the chat from Andrew Jacobs. Thank you. He says, currently doing my messy, again, morning dump. A little odd we're having these sorts of conversations here, but I did too. I just, that's almost every one of these I just did before, and then I'm just creating a continuation of it from here. Sounds good, says Eddie. What's up, guys? Everyone's here. Oh, aliens. He said apparently this link that Joey Poopbag said is it's a link of Cliff High's failed predictions that no one brings up, and we'll get into all that. I'm not going to assume my audience knows what the fuck we're talking about there. But I guess let's go ahead and get into some news off the bat. Let's jump into some Luigi updates. And ironically, we'll start off with the page Luigi updates. This is kind of where I've been cheating lately. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't have all the stuff I want to cover on it. But if you pop over this Luigi Mangione updates account, they have kind of the most pertinent stuff. And it's kind of a slow news day for Luigi. There's not anything new going on with that story. But this right here, this is a tweet, says, claims emerge that the courteous and mindful Luigi Mangione originally planned to use a bomb and attack against UHC CEO. Mangione ultimately decided shooting the CEO would be more targeted rather than a bombing, which could kill innocents. Well, good on him, I guess. If you're gonna assassinate people, which I do not recommend, don't take out other people. That's fair. I don't know where this is according to TMZ. This is a TMZ article that you're sharing. It says he mulled using a bomb, but ultimately decided against it. Law enforcement sources say investigators found a spiral notebook they believe belongs to Mangione, in which he wrote to-do lists of tasks which needed to be completed to unalive Thompson while explaining why these plans were necessary. Once again, this does seem incredibly convenient. I guess you could say the guy intended to get arrested, but still very oddly convenient. We haven't heard much from him yet. We've only seen really, I think, 2 perp walks, one of which we got an outburst about something about insulting the intelligence of the American people, what that may mean, whether that means whether there was some sort of diatribe against the elites or the capitalists or whatever, or that was alluding to that, hey, this is completely a sham, he's innocent, who knows? But it does seem weirdly convenient. It almost seems like you would have to. It's so unbelievable that it has to be either complete bullshit or it was that he wanted to get arrested, because it seems bizarre. In one alarming passage, Mangione allegedly relished what it would be like to unalive the CEO at his own bean counting conference, believing that unaliving that, I guess what word can I use for that? Whatever. Pew-pewing his victim would be more targeted rather than a bombing, which could kill innocents. Thoughts of using a bomb were apparently brought up when Mangione wrote about Ted Kaczynski. This once again seems like a lot of conjecture, because now they always keep. I feel like every time I read something, they somehow bring it back to Ted Kaczynski, and it's like all that I know of, unless there's other stuff, is that he wrote a book review. They read it in a book club supposedly and wrote a book review on it, which okay, and lots of people read Ted Kaczynski because he has some pretty prescient thoughts. Yeah, all right. As we reported, Luigi praised Kaczynski's manifesto as an interesting read, but his friend R.J. Martin tells us he didn't think Mangione was that moved by the material. All right, well, I don't know if we're going to read all that. All that's really pertinent there for us, if you guys have been following along, this is all rehashing other stuff. I believe I recall in one of our previous coverage of this in the previous days over this week, I do recall something about a to-do list or a spiral notebook or something, and he might even have referred to it in his manifesto, I think, now I think about it. Yeah, still weirdly convenient, but I guess that's something new-ish. All right, cool. I don't know. I really don't know where they're getting that. I guess they're implying that he explained it. They didn't even straight up say that. I don't know. It seems like it could be another bullshit something or other. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Oh, crap. I was sharing the wrong tab the whole time. Sorry, guys. I had the original one. I was reading the TMZ article. My bad. I didn't swap it over. So that might have been a little bit confusing for you guys. My bad. All right, let's pop into this real quick. I was AFK reading Cliff High shit. That page lengthy but extensive in info, wild symbolism in it. Okay, he says lengthy. We're probably not gonna read it all. Maybe skim through it. Someone saying he's a Mason too. I don't know who you're referring to. Are you saying this guy Mangione was a Mason, or are you referring to something else, Joey Poopbag? Or are you talking about Cliff High? Okay. Let me know in the chat which one you're referring to. But everyone's saying hi, happy 12/12/24. Ooh, weird. I tagged you in a few things this morning. I think I recall that. Yes, you did. We will probably be bringing up some of those. So yeah, that's one way, guys, that you can get this on the show. Just tag me, and I will, likely, unless it's like that's fucking boring and I don't give a shit about it. But let's be real. If you guys find it interesting and you seem like it's something pertinent for the show, I probably will too. So hell, I'm doing 3 to 5 of the week of these currently. Who knows? Maybe things will change and I'll go back full time sometime soon. But as of right now, I'm doing a bunch of these, so I appreciate the content, and hey, this is you guys' way to contribute. So, tired of this guy already, not even the second best Luigi in my lifetime. Yeah, getting a little bit drawn out now. I just feel like there's something there. As I've gone into, I'm not buying the milquetoast takes that he was just fucking a silly commie Batman. I don't know. But Cliff High is a Mason, is what he's saying. All right, let's see what else can we get into on this. All right. Here, new Luigi. Luigi's attorney said that he will plead not guilty to the Pennsylvania charges. Suggested he would do the same with the New York counts. I haven't seen any evidence that he's a shooter. I'm not going to open this article and read it through with you guys because I actually believe I heard Robbie covered a bunch of it. Robbie Bernstein he did a stream yesterday, kind of covered a lot of this. I popped in for that. So he had already covered this. It just seemed I believe he covered this one. Maybe it's somebody else. I mean, I've listened to a lot of people's coverage. But this one, it's kind of like a non-story because at that point in time, I believe he had just gotten arrested. All this is his attorney is saying that he hasn't even seen any evidence yet. And so, like, yeah, he's going to plans to plead not guilty as it is because he's like, hey, I'm at least going to give him a chance because, I mean, it's completely fair as the defense attorney, that, like, hey, we literally haven't even received, like, any evidence from the state, so how the fuck are we going to craft an argument? But as of right now, it's kind of like, yeah, we have no evidence, so, yeah, that would be an easy case for him until they provide evidence. All right, so one more thing on this. We have this right here, which I believe that was you right here, Arcane Arsenals. Here you go. I'll give you an old retweet. Yeah, let me make sure I'm following you. Am I following you? Oh no. See, there you go. Now you're followed. There you go. Cool. All right, see, there's one way to get followed too. Okay. That may not happen all the time. I'm just saying. If I recall, if I think about it, if you're someone that I just feel close to like that. I feel close to Arcane. He shows up for these, okay? But you're not just going to show up here one time and then like you never interact with me ever again and then get that follow. I just want to make that clear, okay? But just throwing it out there in case for those who do care that much. But he tagged me in this. There was this, this is some influencer. I've seen this guy around Kira. I mean, I don't really know anything about him. I mean, just kind of seems to be someone who's managed to master the algo. So it's not always stuff like this. I'm not necessarily advising you even follow this account. This is just kind of one of those, viral accounts. It says CNN breaking news: Luigi Mangione's fingerprints match prints taken the scene of the UHC CEO unaliving. Police say. All right, the guy said what fingerprints because I guess he was wearing gloves in the video. So that's what everyone said in the comments. I looked at this earlier. But to be fair, I mean, obviously, this is, I'm a little bit conspiratorial minded, but to be fair, there are, just because he was wearing gloves at the time doesn't mean there wouldn't be other places they could pick up fingerprints. I mean, assuming he supposedly had a 3D printed gun, a silencer, I mean, obviously there's got to be ammo in the gun. So, I mean, between all of those things, he at some point could have handled it with his hand, like fucked up in some way. Before, when he was doing it. I've heard before, I mean, I find it bullshit. I've heard cases where they say they found like fingerprints on the ammo because you got to load your ammo. So you got to load it into the magazine. So, you're theoretically putting your fingerprints on it. I have a hard time believing that those would, I mean, I guess assuming that all of them were fired, but I guess he did have the ones that ejected because he had to clear the chamber because he got a couple jams, I think. So I guess those, yeah, but I do kind of find it hard to believe that one that's been fired, I assume that would fuck up the fingerprints, but I don't know. I'm not a forensic analyst in any way. But my point being is that there are theoretically ways. I mean, it is kind of like, haha, you fucked up if you get fingerprints on your shit, even though you're wearing gloves. It's kind of like you'd think that if you went to the extent to wear gloves, you would try to wipe down your shit and not touch it before then too. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass a little bit, but let's read about this to see where this information is coming from, because especially this case and really all cases, question anywhere any information is coming from. All right, this says this is from CNN. The gun CEO killing suspect. I said the word I'm not supposed to say. Luigi Mangione had upon arrest matches shell casings from the crime scene. Police say. Okay. All right. Well, then now it's another thing. All right. Not just fingerprints. All right, CNN, the 3D printed gun that healthcare CEO unaliving suspect Luigi Mangione had when he was arrested this week in Pennsylvania matches 3 shell casings found at the crime scene in Midtown Manhattan. I mean, I guess there are ways to do that. I think you can tell by how the firing pin strikes it or something. But even then, I've heard people say that's not really the most reliable shit. But what do I know? Matches shell casings. The New York Police Department commissioner said Wednesday as authorities continue to investigate the motive for the unaliving. Also, his fingerprints match those investigators found on items near the scene. Exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at. The December 4th assassination of the UHC chief commissioner Jessica Tisch said at a public event. 3 9mm shell casings from the crime scene had the words delay, deny, and depose written across them. 1 word per bullet, NYPD Chief Detective Joseph Kenny has said. Police have been looking into whether the words, which title a 2010 book critiquing the insurance industry, may point to a motive in CEO Brian Thompson's killing. First, we got the gun in question back from Pennsylvania. It's now at the NYPD crime lab. We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide. Okay, this is supposedly the gun. Any of you gun heads out there, I don't know if you want to take a peek at it, if you can glean anything from that. I mean, supposedly it's a 3D printed gun. I can't really, I mean, the image is too grainy for me to be able to really tell if it is or isn't, and I don't have a kind of recall of all the different types to be able to tell. I mean, it does kind of look like it has that appearance of like 3D printed stuff, but it's really hard to tell. It could be metal, it could be plastic. I don't know. We're also the crime lab able to match the persons of interest fingerprints with fingerprints that we found on both the water bottle and the Kind bar near the scene of the homicide in Midtown, she said. Authorities have been probing DNA material and a partial fingerprint from the discarded Starbucks water bottle, and an energy bar wrapper. Surveillance images showed the suspect buying about 30 minutes before the shooting. The fingerprints were the first positive forensic match tying Mangione directly to the scene where Thompson was gunned down just over a week ago outside a hotel. I would like to know what specifically it was on. Oh, wait, never mind. It says right there, on the water bottle and the Kind bar near the scene. Okay, there was a water bottle and a Kind bar? Okay. From a discarded bar and an energy bar. Okay. About 30 minutes. Oh, this isn't that great. Oh, but they're saying they found it on. So this is how they're tying it, is what authorities have been probing DNA material and a partial fingerprint from a discarded Starbucks water bottle and an energy bar wrapper. Surveillance images showed the suspect buying about 30 minutes before. But they're saying it's near the scene. What do they mean by near the scene? Do they mean at the place he was at 30 minutes before? Or did he bring that stuff with him and it was right by the scene? I don't know. That's too open-ended for me. I would like to know more of that. I mean, maybe it may mean nothing. It could be that literally like he threw this stuff away near the scene. But I mean, that also could mean that it was like he threw it away it could have been near wherever he bought this at the 30 minutes prior. So I don't know. Weird. Thomas Dickey, Mangione's attorney, told them that he still needs to see fingerprint and ballistics evidence that New York police may have. These 2 scientists in and of themselves have come under some criticism in the past relative to their credibility, their truthfulness, their accuracy, however you want to do it. So that's why as lawyers we need to see it. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I don't know if I want to read all of this to you guys. I think that might be really all that's of interest. Trying to see if there's anything specifically in relation to the actual evidence, because all of this is just kind of stuff we've probably covered before. Here's someone mentioned yesterday about the reporting a missing, and they'd sent an article, but then it was like paywalled article, so I wasn't able to bring it up on the show. But Mangione's mother on November 18th called the San Francisco police and reported him missing, saying she hadn't spoken to him since July 1st. A law enforcement official briefed on the investigation told CNN. So since November, she reported him missing in November. So, okay, it'd been about half a month since his mom. So, yeah, he did just disappear off the map to the extent that his mom was worried about him. So her mother told authorities that she had called her son's phone repeatedly and the voicemail was full and not taking any more messages, according to the official. So, okay. Sounds like he just stopped answering his phone. He just completely went dark for a while. She said her son had been living in San Francisco and working remotely for TrueCar, the official said, citing the missing persons report. Now here the attorney denies Mangione's involvement. Dickey has denied his client's involvement and anticipates. All right, we already talked about this. I mean, obviously that's the stance you would take initially until you've seen any evidence. He says, I haven't seen any evidence. They have the right guy. So, I mean, that's really all it comes down to. Okay. Investigators detail gun, silencer, and fake ID. Okay. So here's some more worthwhile here. New York prosecutors charged Mangione with 1 count of murder, 2 counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, 1 count of second-degree possession of a forged document, and 1 count of third-degree criminal possession of a weapon. Online court documents show Mangione is the person seen in surveillance video fatally shooting Thompson outside a Hilton hotel and wrote to his company's annual investor conference, officials assert, citing charging documents in which Detective Yusuf Demis of the Midtown North Detective Squad outlines evidence, including that the man seen in surveillance footage from a New York hostel is wearing the same clothing. After arresting Mangione in the Altoona McDonald's, police found a black 3D printed pistol and a black silencer that was also 3D printed, which there were a lot of gun sleuths that initially off the bat said it was likely because it maybe was a 3D printed gun of some sort, or some sort of homemade silencer, or, both were 3D printed type deal. And that's what the jamming can be attributed to. So they were right, is what it seems like. While being taken into custody, Mangione also presented a forged New Jersey ID with the name Mark Rosario, which matched the ID the man at the hostel used, Demis wrote. Suspect appeared to view targeting killing as a symbolic takedown. I mean, this is once again, we're getting into conjecture. Suspect appeared to be driven by anger against the health insurance industry and against corporate greed as a whole, according to an NYPD intelligence report obtained Tuesday. Okay, so what did it say? Thursday, so it was 2 days ago. So they are saying, according to the cops, that this was, kind of an ideologically motivated. Appeared to view the killing of the company's highest ranking representative as a symbolic takedown and direct challenge to its alleged corruption and power games. All right, boom, boom, boom. Why you might be fighting extradition. Whatever. Why would he need with a Pennsylvania court is given 14 days to file for writ of habeas corpus, putting the burden of proof on those detaining the person to justify the detention, and a hearing will be scheduled if he does. I guess he's fighting his extradition to Pennsylvania. So it said there could be several reasons. Give him more time to think about his defense, demand prosecutors present more evidence at his next hearing, or try to get bail in Pennsylvania, which is unlikely. Okay, I mean, it just sounds like they're trying to drag their feet legally. So that's a pretty common thing they do. All right, one more thing I think I said that one more thing I was wrong. Here we go. This is a weird one. Old Kalani Pengosh has been really killing it lately. That's why I've been bringing up his stuff a lot. This one is interesting. I don't think it really means anything, but it was just a weird connection, so I felt it was worth bringing up. It says, this is fucking crazy. Vester Lee Flanagan II, the ex-newsman who gunned down a reporter during a live broadcast in Virginia in supposed retaliation for the Charleston church shooting in 2015, had just been fired from a UHC call center in Roanoke that was under Brian Thompson's management. Obviously, this can be nothing, but it's just such a weird thing. This is a picture of the guy. It says, before on-air shooting, Vester Flanagan grew erratic, issued manifesto. So another guy with a manifesto, which, this is a clip from, this is like a headline. And then it says, Vester Flanagan appeared to become increasingly volatile in recent years, picking fights with coworkers and others he encountered over seemingly mundane events or perceived slights, and culminating with the on-air slaying of 2 former colleagues who he believed had wronged him. Flanagan's own descriptions of his motive are somewhat inconsistent. A rambling 23-page manifesto sent to a national news network described it as revenge for what police have called the racially motivated killings of 9 black people outside a church in South Carolina. On social media, he suggested his victims, 24-year-old Allison Parker and 27-year-old Adam Ward, had wronged him in the past. Oh, crap. Here we go. Said after Flanagan was fired from WDBJ TV in 2013, he began working at a United Healthcare call center in Roanoke, where a former co-worker said she had a frightening encounter with him. Michelle Kibido, 46, said Flanagan was loud and boisterous with a booming laugh. He often remarked on how quiet she was, she said. One day he was being quiet, and I told him, "You're being quiet today." "The shoe's on the other foot," he said. "You don't know me well enough to judge me." Kibido said she turned to walk away, and Flanagan tried to grab her by the shoulder, but she ducked under his hand. He said, "Don't you walk away from me. Don't you turn your back on me," she recalled. I said, This is not going to happen. And he said, don't you ever speak to me again, Thibodeau said. All right. He said, in this video, which is a video, there's like a 5-minute video here. I guess the woman who worked in Thompson's department for a decade alleged Vester planned to shoot up their office and was the apprehended. Sorry. By the way, the video, I'm not going to watch. It's like a 5-minute video, and it's some woman that's saying some of the five wildest things she saw when she was working at United Healthcare. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something worthwhile there. It just kind of seemed like clickbaity to me. But I guess, Parapower Mapping found some interesting stuff in there, and this is one of the little tidbits he found. The woman who worked in Thompson's department for a decade alleged Vester planned to shoot up their office and was apprehended by police not far away. And comparably to UHC shareholders initially continued with their meeting, the company's only response was to hold a meeting threatening employees with termination and legal ramifications if they spoke to the media about Vester or the shooting. Thus, the seeming dearth of coverage of the Allison Parker and Adam Ward murders that mentions UHC. I went looking as soon as I saw this because her claims seemed strained my credulity at first, but was able to find a handful from predominantly local publications that confirmed that he'd found work at the UHC call center following his ouster at WDBJ-TV. Now, what I want to know is they're pointing to that this guy worked at a UHC call center, but it's like this guy. This was back in what did he say? 2015, and I mean, I don't know, like, to what are the is this during the time when Thompson was a CEO? I don't know offhand. So that, I mean, this would mean probably nothing. I mean, it's interesting. It's weird that another postal guy supposedly worked under him, but what does working under mean? Was he a CEO at this time? Was he at a lower rank? Now, if this guy was like the manager of the call center, I'm like, oh shit, that's weird, but I don't know what he was at this point in time. So, I mean, it doesn't really mean much to me. I mean, I guess there could be a connection there, but that's so weak of a connection that it really means nothing to me. But I just thought it is weird for sure. This guy lost his mind, went postal, had a manifesto and everything, and worked under Brian Thompson, the UHC CEO. So now I don't know to what degree, to how far away he worked from him, but still interesting. So all right, let's pop in the chat, see what you guys have to say. They claim his fingerprints are found in the scene, but that's the easiest plant to plant after an arrest. Yeah, it seems weird. They said a water and a fucking like a granola bar is what it sounded like. So seemed weird to me. And then also the wording. I mean, you were here, so the wording makes me a little bit like, what's going on here? Like, does this mean that like you found a video that you're claiming is this guy in surveillance from 30 minutes prior, and there were things that you found there that had his fingerprints on, but because it's sort of in the area of the shooting, you're saying, oh, it was near the shooting. You know what I mean? I don't know how strong that is. He said, oh, thanks for the follow. You're a hell of a lot more responsive than Corbo. Well, you know why? You know why that is? It's because there's less of you. He's killing it. All right, good for Raven. I want to get to the point where I can hardly pay attention to you guys. Send some of your friends, all right? Let's make this thing grow, okay? I'd like to do this full time. Come on. Let's do it, guys. But no, I mean, I do like interacting with you guys. It's fun. According to the reports, they only found a partial print on a water bottle, nothing else. Yeah, I mean, yeah, your princess is in another castle. I don't know what that means. Yeah, it's definitely a 3D printed lower. Yeah, it looked like it to me. It says build your own Glock kit, says Eddie Grimm. Looks like a Gen 5, very easy to print on a 3D printer, according to Nephew. It says he never actually takes credit for the act as manifesto. In fact, I would argue, if I was a lawyer, that he wrote after the assassination. Yeah. He seems like a fall guy for sure. Maybe. I'm unsure. Hey, big brain retards. Hey, Abrogate D's. What is up, my friend? That's one of the supporters of the channel. I appreciate you. Yeah, I saw your message yesterday. I didn't realize that Villa, you said that's I've been pronouncing that Via because I just two L's, and it's kind of like typically used in like Latin language type situations, and so I immediately always go, hey, they assume that was Villa, but apparently it's Villa. So I mean, I don't know. I guess so. All right, sorry guys. I know we're giving you a look into our DMs. That's not interesting for you, but I realized I was a retard. So yes, I am a big brain retard. Real Josh Elliott here as well. Yeah, that's another one of my sponsors. Hell yeah, dude. So why don't more people lost placast lowers? I don't know what that means. I'm sure it takes more after processing, but far superior. All right, let's pop back into these. All right, here is one. One of you guys shared with me. I'm not sure who. I lost it. Sorry. So one of you guys shared this to me or tagged me, said I should cover it. One second, I'm clearing out my other tabs real quick. Sorry. What the fuck? Here we go. All right. Yep. Now here we go. Hannah Kobayashi. Okay, never. I gotta read the original tweet first. That'd make the most sense. This is ABC 7 News. This is from almost 24 hours ago. It says breaking news: the family of Hannah Kobayashi, a Maui woman who vanished after landing in L.A. last month, says she's been found safe. Okay, so she was found safe. And then we have Jim Garrison Keylor. You can follow him at books_rum. I do recommend that follow. We are mutuals. He does drop interesting content for sure. He said Hannah Kobayashi was supposed to catch a connecting flight from LAX to New York on November 8th, but she disappeared. Then her father unalived himself in a parking lot near LAX. Turns out she missed her flight on purpose, took a bus to the border, and entered Mexico. All right, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what the relevance of this broad is, and that is bizarre. I mean, I feel like something else we're missing here, for sure. Yes, he even says something really weird going on the story. So I guess if you guys want to keep your ears to the ground on that one, if you find out more weird stuff, I do think there's something weird going on. I mean, maybe it's just a weird synchronicity that right when she disappeared is when her dad went through some crippling depression of some sort or had some other thing going on in his life that she wasn't aware of. So they may be completely unconnected things, but it feels connected. That's for sure. All right. Let's pop back into you guys. Oh, all right. Let's see. All right. Here we go. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I haven't watched it yet, but I seen a lot of people talking about it. It was a little bit weird. I don't understand the reasoning why. I've been following Candace's show a lot recently. So for those who aren't aware, I feel like she's been doing pretty good. I mean, it's not exactly my cup of tea. But she's still kind of normie adjacent, but like she is, in my opinion, kind of on that path. I know a lot of people might question whether it's legit or not. I don't fucking know. Either way, it's like the kind of stuff she's been talking about has been very much in our vein as of late. So I've been appreciative of that. But she just did yesterday. She put up she did a live stream and it says like, kind of like a personal announcement. And then it ended up being this. So I don't really understand. I don't know if that was a fake out or what. It was she had the USS Liberty survivor, Phil Turney, on. And so I'll check that out. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit tomorrow. But I am aware of it. I know I've seen him go on other shows. I honestly have never actually listened to his account. I should. It definitely deserves my time. That's definitely a story I should get more knowledgeable on. But it's USS Liberty was the ship that got attacked by Israel. I forget the time period, but we're gonna watch this video real quick. But I just props to Candace for doing this. I don't know if it was in response or what to Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro saying, writing this off as conspiracy theories about USS Liberty. But Candace kind of dropped her dick on the table and kind of like, all right, here you go. Does this sound like a conspiracy theory? And let this guy talk for, I don't know what, probably an hour to 2 hours. So good on her. All right, let's watch this.
They're calling us liars, Nazis, and Jew haters, our own Congress. I tell you what, I'd like to call out Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro with this conspiracy theory stuff. If you think it's a conspiracy, debate me live on TV. I'd be glad to debate you. And my shipmates will be there too if you want them. Debate us if you think it's a conspiracy theory. Or do you have the courage? I don't think you got the courage. I think you're cowards.
Can I explain the USS Liberty incident? Sure. The USS Liberty incident is very frequently used by anti-Semites to suggest that Israel deliberately targets American ships and then pays no penalty. So both American naval records and Israeli Air Force.
Real quick, I do want to point out that he led that off with that he didn't, actually, let me back it up. I want to that the way he worded that seemed very lawyerly, or some may say Jewy.
American naval records and Israel pays no attention to suggest that Israel deliberately targets American ships and then
To say that Israel deliberately targets the American ships. So he's not saying that, oh no, like he leads off with this in saying, not denying initially, I mean, obviously he's about to say some more, that, Israel did this thing. He said, oh, people are saying that Israel does this, and it says it in a way like as if this is an occurrence that happens. So like he would be able to then back off to be like, oh, well, here's an isolated example of this happening. That doesn't mean that this happens as in the sense of like an irregular occurrence or something that just is a commonality. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overly thinking it. We have Tyler in the chat. He can probably let me know if I'm correct, and that is weird. It almost sounds like lawyerly language to kind of hide away from the truth. But he said late 60s. LBJ was president. We have June 8th, 1967. That's when it occurred on. Who do we blame it on? I cannot recall. I'm sorry. But yeah, let's keep it going. Iran, I think, is what Joey Poopbag said. Wouldn't surprise me. We'll get to that later, how easy of an excuse it always is to go, Iran. But all right, let's keep going.
And pays no penalty. So both American naval records and Israeli Air Force records suggest that there was a case of mistaken identity wherein USS Liberty was in the Mediterranean.
See, it becomes, no, there was a case of mistaken identity. Instead of this, I don't know, it's Jewy. All right, let's keep going.
A place they were not supposed to be. Israel thought that it was an Egyptian ship and shot it. That's the actual full story. Now, there are a bunch of conspiracy theories on actually both sides of this. There's a conspiracy theory on the American side that suggests that Israel, for no reason that can be discerned, decided to shoot up an American ship to accomplish no one really can explain what.
I bet you people could probably explain why. I'm not sure what exactly was going on at the time, but I don't think it would be too hard to explain why. But let's keep going. That seemed incredibly disingenuous.
And then on the other side, there is a theory that I've not seen a lot of support for, that the USS Liberty was being used as a transmission vessel to send Israeli military locations to the Egyptians during the 67 war, and Israel knew that and shot it. Again, I think the evidence is lacking on both of those things. Again, there have been multiple naval investigations of the USS Liberty incident. They all come down on the same side, which is that this is a mistaken case of allied, quote-unquote, friendly fire.
All right. Yeah. All right. I don't know. I was scrolling through the comments to see if there's anything in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what there is to really say about that. He didn't really deny it. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess the whether it was mistaken identity is where maybe you could get in the weeds of what's what. I'm not sure what the truth is to be there. I have not done a deep enough dive. So I guess I would recommend you guys go check that out. Let me see. It said April 26, 1992, there was a riot in the streets. Tell me, where were you? I'm not sure what he was referring us to. To drag us into the fucking war? Yeah, for sure. Duh. All right, LBJ used to take out his huge dick and beat on the desert and intimidate people. No joke. Yes, that's what I've heard. That is what I have heard. All right, let's, I had some other stuff to get into, but I guess we can save that for tomorrow. We really need to get into actually, no, I have one more topic before we get to the UFOs. It's a kind of two things in one. Breaking: FBI Director Chris Wray resigns before Trump has the chance to fire him. Thanks for all the effort you spent going after Catholics and Trump supporters. That's the words of Headline USA. Let's watch this.
Well, John, Christopher Wray, the FBI director, is making this announcement right now in an all-staff town hall with thousands of FBI employees across the country. He says now is his time to go. As you mentioned, he has a 10-year term. All FBI directors do. He was 7 years into his 10-year term, and realistically, he had two options. Wait to be fired by President-elect Donald Trump because Trump announced Kash Patel would take over, or bow out before. He has chosen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I would assume the correct thing is probably to wait and have a clean transition. So this does seem like him being petty. But you know what? Good. Fuck these people. I don't really care. Here's another one along these same lines. Adam Schiff. This was December 8th, so this is a while ago. What was that? Probably Monday? No, Sunday. Adam Schiff has also resigned from the U.S. House effective December 8th.
The chair lays before the House a communication. The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. Please see the attached letter of resignation from the U.S. House of Representatives effective December 8th, 2024. Signed sincerely, Adam Schiff, Member of Congress.
All right, that's that. Yeah, he's out of here. It says in other, dissident media says in other news he'll be a senator soon, perhaps. But whatever, cool. He's gone. I just thought I'd give a little update. I mean, Adam Schiff has been a big. What was he? The guy that ran the Intelligence Committee, I believe. He is basically indecipherable from a spook. So good to see him go. I mean, hopefully he doesn't move on to bigger things, but I don't know. Either way, it's just I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a shuffling of the guard, so maybe it's not necessarily the biggest deal in the world, but I do find it interesting. All right, guys, let's get into this drone story. That's what you guys have been waiting for. Let's be real. All right, I do want to pop into the chat, make sure, see what all y'all have to say before we get into another topic. LBJ from Doctori 420 was a crazy drunk fucker. Apparently fucked everything that moved. Yeah, sounds about right. And then Tyler says mistaken ID wouldn't account for why U.S. ships didn't come to rescue and report recalled. Robert Macadamia, this is from Son of Overbrook, admitted it was an attack by Israel. I mean, I don't even think Ben didn't even deny that. So the rats are jumping ship. LOL. They all need to be arrested and sent to Gitmo. He was elected senator. Oh, was he? Oh, I don't fucking know. All right, cool. Well, that means nothing. I mean, I guess they just moved from one place to another. Or he's still going to be infesting the halls of power, which, I mean, I guess we knew either way, but whatever. I guess we're shuffling on the guard. Worthwhile bringing up. Normally, I don't even pay attention to these sort of people. All right, what do we go? I thought I mentioned you in a video of the guy saying his personal drone battery died when it caught close. No, I don't recall that. If so, I must have missed that notification. My bad. All right. This is from some 3,000 follower Pepe account, which that's how you know it's good. Danny, a bunch of numbers here, which I mean, good for them. This one viral. I saw a lot of people sharing this around, so I figured, fuck it, we'll go through this real quick. Actually, no, you know what? Real quick, I'm gonna find that bring up that article that Joey Poopbag brought up earlier. Let's the great Cliff High goes the extra mile to prove he is a fraud. Let's scroll through this real quick, see how long it is. Okay, that's not too long. So let's hear this guy out. This is from 2012. Okay, so I guess Cliff High has been around for a while. So this is 2012. It says Cliff High posted, let's back it up a little bit. Cliff High, to where this all starts is you guys have been seeing the stories lately about how do I put this? The drones in New Jersey is what all the headlines seem to say, but it's like UFO, aliens. What led up to this before was that there was this guy Cliff High who the story went out that there was going to be a God, I'm gonna brain fart right now. This was after the Trump Rogan election that supposedly this guy had some sort of fucking technological doodad that predicted things that's been around since the 90s, and I've heard it's supposedly like in the realm of like 50% correct or something, and sometimes it's not always right in the exact time. It might be a little bit off. So it's a technological thing. It's not like a woo woo like I'm fucking consulting the oracles type bullshit. So I mean it's something that has like a margin of error type thing. So but apparently it supposedly predicted the Trump Rogan podcast. I haven't looked into this stuff enough to know like if it's true or not, but that's the story that got essentially the colloquialism that got thrown around was that he was able to predict that, and that the next thing was that on December 3rd, I believe is what it was supposed to be, is there was going to be, I mean, I would say go consult Nephilim Death Squad. These guys have covered the Cliff High aspect of this way more. I never really cared about like this part a little bit. I mean, it was kind of like interesting, I guess. But the idea is that it was supposed to be like a melee in the sky or something. There's supposed to be December 3rd. There's essentially something vaguely in the realm of aliens or UFOs or whatever. I guess it didn't have to actually be aliens. And then, or something along the lines of multiple entities of fighting. So that a lot of people took this to mean there was going to be a melee in the sky, or we were going to be fighting against aliens or whatever. And now I do want to say, because this became kind of a thing on Tower Gang, where like everyone's kind of arguing with Top because Top kind of went, I don't know. He went pretty hard on the pain on the Cliff High thing. Although he did, I would say he always kind of couched it and like could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, but he was already also piggybacking off of kind of the the feeling that was going on in the air in this community already. Like recently, I don't know if it was on one of these streams or if it was on Already Dead or what, but one of you guys asked me a while back. This must have been at least a couple weeks ago, and this was before, I believe, the whole Cliff High thing, which because I don't know when that story went hot, but I said something because somebody said something like, "Do you think there's gonna be like another OKC?" And I actually. I had a period of time where I had a feeling there might be like, and it could be something along the lines of an OKC because I felt like that would be the time it would benefit the people in power. Particularly around like when they were like looking into like Trump's estates and stuff, like around that time, like when they searched his estate, like that was around the time where I was like, you know what, if they hit us with one of those, that would be smart. That would make sense from their perspective. But lately, I have had like right before the Cliff High stuff, I was like, I bet you, I had a feeling. I mean, obviously, I know it sounds fantastical, but like something blue beamish. And in my head, it was like, obviously, I had a wide range of possibilities, but it was like, how hard would it be to have maybe some sightings that were to some degree or another somewhat genuine, whether they were military drones or whatever, or fuck, I don't know. Maybe there is aliens, and you're going to make a few showings because they have backdoor dealings. I don't fucking know. But either way, a few legit ones to get people like, what the fuck? Get them talking. You flood the paint with like ones that are clearly planes, helicopters, old videos, whatever. And so you make this from a mountain into a molehill, from a molehill into a mountain, and like that would be, and then you have some angle. It just seemed like an easy play. Like that was kind of my thinking. I mean, there's multiple ways you can take this out, but it's just such an easy play. It's very much one of these things that like after the fact, the military can just go, source, trust me, bro, it's classified or whatever. And that's regardless of whether you think it's aliens or if it's some sort of, foreign power or the domestic military or whatever. Either way, it's all going to be, oh, that's national security. We, you don't need to know that information. Well, that's private flight data, whatever. Like, so the point being is like, this is just in today's landscape, it's such an easy op to do. And it does seem ridiculous. So you seem ridiculous when you're someone like me calling it out ahead of time. You're like, oh, you think we're going to fucking have aliens? I'm like, no, I don't think we're going to have fucking aliens. I think you're going to try to fool people into thinking there's aliens without explicitly saying aliens. You'll say things like drones. And even then you will do like things where you have like congressional hearings where you kind of imply maybe it could be alien. I don't know what's going on with this alien thing. And so you create this whole fervor of things going on. So, and then lo and behold, I guess I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. We'll get to this later. This is crescendoed into, we're seeing all these drones in New Jersey and all this stuff. Supposedly, it's crescendoed into, oh, it was Iran. Who would have fucking thought? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Who would have ever guessed it was fucking Iran? I mean, they are the same ones that are like, a couple weeks away from a nuke. They did just try to assassinate our president. I mean, they're the largest funders of terrorism in the region. Like, all the bromides, all the things you're supposed to say. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, my point being is like, I guess this is a little bit more boring than I thought it'd be, that it would just be like, and maybe there will be more angles, more dimensions to this. Maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe there will be more to come. But if this is the end of the story, it is kind of like, this was really the blue beam. This is the blue beam. All right. A little boring, but I mean, I guess, yeah, that is kind of the feeling that this is one of those ones that you can kind of, because I think they're past the time of like being able to, I mean, obviously a little bit knock on wood, kind of like I hope it does, of pulling off things like live, like events that aren't couched in some sort of way to obfuscate the truth. Like, I don't know, I'm sure maybe I can imagine a scenario, maybe something deep out at water or some sort of like ship out in water so they can control the evidence. But for the most part, like something like an actual, like an OKC, I just don't know if they can pull it off. But you know what though? There has been ongoing theme lately where it is like, kind of been getting a little bit more impressed with the Empire, that like not endorsing what they're doing, but I'm like, oh shit, they're pulling off moves that I'm kind of surprised. So I guess they still have the will to pull off kind of wild shit occasionally, but I don't know. I still doubt they can pull off something with that many dimensions, that many points of fallibility, I guess it would be a good way to put it. Points where it could fall apart. And there are so many people, so many researchers out there right now, so many people paying attention, so many people with tech knowledge that's like in such a way to congregate knowledge that I just don't see them doing that. I feel like they would get too screwed over. It'd be hard to control the information. But with something like this, something that's like, what we have, flight information is all controlled by the FAA probably. So I mean, anything that's related to extraterrestrials or domestic intelligence or foreign intelligence, it's all going to be classified. So they're going to be able to control the fuck out of it. It's just such an easy play. So, and don't get me wrong, I think we'll probably see more of things along this in the future, like this in the future. I don't know what flavors the future ones will take. I don't know. And does that mean that none of there isn't anything to this? I don't know. I mean, I doubt there's aliens. But all right, let's get back to this. This is I guess kind of like a critique of Cliff. So Cliff posted your last 26 days of life on February 6, 2012. The entire piece, which contains a fear-mongering, very specific prediction, was proved false. Follows my brief comments and may be found here. Cliff High, who calls himself Nom de Plume, has, like so many before him, exposed himself as a fraud. While his following and influence are negligible, some still seem to think his Shape of Things to Come report, supposedly created by what are styled web bots, are truly useful. I once spent $10 in order to see for myself, and I can attest to the fact that the reports are well nigh unintelligible and highly inaccurate. Okay, so this sounds like they're describing a little bit more the mechanism of whatever he's using, whatever his thing. He has some sort of thingamajig. You got to spend $10 to see their fucking to see the reports of whatever these web bots are that he's created to predict things. The entire process makes me think of a man trying to use some kind of techno-wizard's crystal ball to know things he simply cannot know, the knowledge of which would not help him anyway. The only one who knows if the future is God, being infinitely powerful and wise, being outside time, and all is before his supreme mind. He shares some things with the humble of heart, but he not only resists the proud, he humiliates us whenever... Okay. Cliff Eyes a fraud. Here's a decent analysis. It says, I guess, now to the February 6th posting. On March 2nd, 2012, the Zionists, who are the stooges of the central bankers, okay, the motherfuckers spitting so far, will attack an American naval ship, as they did with the USS Liberty. So he predicted it on March 2nd, 2012, that this would happen. Now, once again, this is couched in that these web bots are supposedly, he's admittedly not always accurate. And then even then, not always accurate to the time. I mean... it could mean nothing. I don't know. I just feel like I've heard 50% thrown around, which like sounds impressive until you see maybe what he's saying. It may not mean anything. Like, what kind of predictions are you talking about? I mean, I'm sure, like, what is it? Horoscopes? I bet you those are probably over 50%, true, especially since they're written in a way to which they're kind of vague. Now, this doesn't sound vague. March 2nd, 2012. So now if they're all as specific as that, and he's right at 50% of the time, might be something. I don't know. I don't know at what point that becomes statistically irrelevant. But especially when it's stuff that's like, I don't know, who would be surprised if they did that? Aside from Zionists that are really by the sauce, I guess. Much of officialdom. You know what? I'm gonna be frank with you. I'm not gonna go through all this. You guys can check it out. I'm kind of bored with it. It sounds to me like they're saying that he made some predictions. They weren't good. I don't know. This bores me. I'm not even really, frankly, interested in the Cliff High one because it's like, it is kind of like, I don't know. Is he really predicting stuff? I don't know. I wouldn't put too much here. Let me see. I'm 100% convinced they are American military drones. New prototypes they are readying for mass manufacturing. Yeah, maybe. All right, let me pop. Oh, crap. Damn it. I just undid Damn it, I accidentally tab. I didn't mean to. Luckily, I don't think I needed that one. All right, let's go back over to here. I'm getting out of that article. That bored me. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's something more worth there, but I just don't care about the Cliff High thing. But thanks, Joey Poopbag. For those following, but it did give me a little bit more insight into like what exactly that is, and it kind of made it more understandable. Even like the idea that you got to pay $10 just to see it. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's a scam, but it makes you think maybe it is. But I don't know. For those following New Jersey drones, this post was made a few hours ago in the New Jersey drones group on Facebook, which has almost 20,000 members sharing videos and tracking drones. Not only was the post removed from Facebook, but it was then moved to Reddit, and they also removed it. Weird, it got moved from Reddit. All right, this is from Dale Lasher on New Jersey Mystery Drones. Let's solve it, a Facebook group. It says, I can tell you right now, they are military drones. Our military. I have a commercial drone license, and they know when my drone is up after it reaches 50 feet. They can then assign a unique signature to it and track it on radar like a heat-seeking missile until it goes below 50 feet again. I talked to a friend in the military who also works with drones. He said 100% these are our drones, and they would only be used in such cases for a serious reason, and gave examples like tracking nuclear fallout from a dirty bomb that went off, tracking biological weapons, tracking WMDs, or search for them from a credible threat. I know of two families that left the state to stay in the family with family elsewhere. They are both in the military. Guess what? Both of the family's husbands are deployed. That is why they are going to stay with family. Sus. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're deployed, it's not that great. I hear people, back when I was in, people would get, go, their like loved ones would go stay with family all the time when they deploy. Especially if they just have a wife or just wife and younger kids. It's like, what are we going to do here? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's kind of my intuition. Here's some comments. I don't know. Let's see if there's anything worthwhile. I mean, just kind of people saying, yeah, military, rah, rah, rah. I mean, I definitely agree. Now, this is, I guess, where I heard it on Clint's show, I believe, actually, or I don't know where I heard it, where they were saying that maybe it was on Nephilim Death Squad. I don't know. They said the whole tracking nuclear fallout from a dirty bomb, that could be the case. Yeah, it could be. It is really one of those like unknowable things. I don't know. I mean, until we see more, it kind of is what it is. It wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there are people, trying to do something like that around here. If there is, we are under some sort of threat because, I mean, we've been fucking around with powers we shouldn't be fucking with. I'm sure Iran is very much like realizes the situation they're in. I think Russia does as well. I think things might die down there. So I guess I am a little bit skeptical about anything like that. And since I do also think these two powers, like Iran, maybe, although I just don't think they have the capability for it. Russia, I guess maybe, but like even then, I don't think they want to. I think if I had to guess, they don't want to make this go any. I think they're literally just trying to drag their feet until Trump takes over and hoping things die down. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised too with the whole Syria stuff going on if a deal was made. So I don't know about this whole nuclear fallout, dirty bomb. What's them to do? Whatever bullshit. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really, it doesn't really mean much to me. But all right, let's see. All right, just more, I don't know. It's just people talking. I'm not going to go through all the different comments. Here's a video taken from someone in the New Jersey Facebook group of drones releasing something in the air. Some videos posted a few. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this thing. Come on. Oh, sorry. Let's look at this.
Yeah, that's chemtrails.
That literally looks like a plane. You can see the lights. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, it's way too far off, but you can see the flashing lights. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little. I know most people aren't, don't have history with planes, but probably the easiest way to tell is their directional lights. If you look at obviously I can't really tell this one. The flashing lights makes me think it is, but I can't really tell the colors. But you have red and green on the left side. Left is right. So left is red. So on the left side of a plane, you'll have on their left wingtip, you'll usually have a red light. On their right wingtip, they'll have a green light, and that's probably the easiest way to tell. And they typically will flash. They usually also have strobe lights on the top or bottom. There's landing lights. So there's all different lights to be able to tell And then once you know what you're looking for, it becomes pretty obvious most of the time when it's a plane or not. Like, I can look up at the night sky and identify, by the lights, like, oh, that's a plane, that's this, that's that, that's a helicopter. But all right, let me get out of there. See if there's anything else worthwhile. So see what I mean? That was another one that's kind of like looks like a.
Oh, let's drop something.
Here's another one.
Yeah, I know. Oh, let's drop something.
I mean, these are just little lights. See what I mean? These people going nuts about lights. I don't know. I mean, these videos really show nothing. They're saying dropping a chemical into the air. I mean, okay, I guess I see here. You can see there's like almost like it separates. I mean, I don't know. All right, well, this one's kind of lost some interest, honestly. Let's pop over to this other chat. Now, this one I think might be a little bit more promising. This is from Mel at Village Crazy Lady. She's the one that a while ago made the thread that we covered on the show that was about the whole Matt Gaetz thing. And so she did a really good job of that, so props to her. So I mean, we'll see about this one if we're in the same. She got featured on, I think, Candace's show for that. So she's got almost 105,000 followers now. I don't think she was anywhere in that range at that point. So killing it. Good for her. Let's watch this video real quick. This is from Colin Rugg. The drones flying near Trump's New Jersey estate were launched from an Iranian mothership, according to Representative Jeff Van Drew. The development comes after New Jersey has seen SUV-sized drones dominating the sky. Says the mothership is located off the east coast of the United States. Iran launched a mothership. All right, let's watch the video.
In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear.
That is a fucking
And again,
plane.
these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly.
You can tell by the lights. It's a fucking plane.
Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government.
I mean, okay, to be fair, I don't know it's a plane, but just judging by the lights, pretty damn sure it's a plane.
Because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. No.
That one kind of looks like a helicopter, but it's hard to tell.
That Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home.
Watch him lie
in
with
the
a
same
bold face.
county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon.
I think we found the aliens. Look at this broad. Look at her nose. Man, women, stop getting nose jobs. Stop it. Unless it's like atrocious. All right, let's keep moving.
Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information, and again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you the straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this.
No.
Our government and also certainly our hobbyists don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense.
It is common sense that Iran is launching drones off our fucking coasts from a fucking mothership. Yeah, I call shenanigans, and I'm you know what, the thing I got the most out of this though is I'm really bummed she got a nose job. I feel like she could have been a pretty lady, but she fucked up her nose. All right, let's get back to the thread. By the way, I saw in the chat, I just scrolled back to look over Rumble, and I saw, Joey Poopbag, that you sent a $5 super chat. I appreciate you said read the second here link to read about kanji symbolism about deceive the people along with Masonic shit. I don't know the second link. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I scrolled through the Rumble. I didn't see it. So I don't know. I mean, you're not able to, I don't know if we'll have time to get into it today, but if you send it to me on here or, wherever, then I'll be sure to bring it up tomorrow because I'm gonna be on. I'll be doing another one tomorrow. So, if you can find a way to get that to me, whether it's in the chat or I don't know where that other link is to it. I mean, it does sound interesting. It doesn't sound like something I'm ready to bite off today, but because I'm gonna do this and then we're gonna get into our Dutroux reading after this. But all right, we have another link in the Rumble sent by who was this by? This is by Doctori420. Here we go. Here's another. Oh shit! There we go. Good morning. Here's some new drone footage. Look at this thing. Okay, now that's something.
This is crazy.
That's not normal.
That's not a plane.
It's a goddamn TIE fighter. What the fuck?
It's wild.
Dude, we're being invaded by the Empire, I think. Alright, that's fucking weird. That's weird. That's weird.
Let's look at my camera.
I mean, I will say, to play the devil's advocate, that kind of looks like, it kind of looks like those things. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Like, they usually see them during the day, and I feel like it would be dangerous to do it at night. And you would think they would have some sort of light. But that looks like those things that have the little parachute things, but it's like a seat they ride in type deal. Like maybe some sort of variation off that. So kind of like a parachuting thing. I don't even know what you would call that, but I've seen those, especially because I kind of live out in the country, so I see those a lot. So I don't know where they're dropping those people out, but it does kind of look like that, and it kind of moved like it too. So I don't know, but either way, it still looks bizarre. But I mean, it could have a legitimate explanation. But let's keep looking at it.
Nobody was gonna believe me.
I mean, it just went up elevation, so I think that approves that takes back what I just said. I don't know. I mean, it could have caught a draft, I guess, because I guess it didn't go up much. Huh? Yeah, that one's weird. That one's odd. Yeah, that one's something. That's something for sure. That's weird. All right. Yeah, electric-powered paraglider. Yeah, someone, I don't know if you guys are agreeing. Someone else said paraglider, screwed up rebellion. Electric-powered paraglider. So I don't know if you're agreeing with me or you're just saying that's what I was describing. That kind of looks like one of those, but I could be wrong. And I'm pretty sure, I would assume they would have a light, especially at night. No, they can fly up. I used to fly them, is what he said. Okay, so I don't know. Do you think that looks like it could be one? It kind of looks like one to me. Although it did look a little funky, so I don't know. You tell me. If I see one, I'll pew it down myself. Yeah, please don't go shooting at people in electric-powered paragliders. They're just trying to have a nice afternoon. Doesn't seem like the nice thing to do. He says you take off from the ground above the clouds. Okay. I guess from mountains. All right. Let's get back to... Oh, did I accidentally X out of the thing? Oh, crap. My bad. Let me bring back Mel's... thread real quick. says, I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm. There's no Iranian drone mothership sitting off the East Coast. That ship, the ship that he's referring to, the Shahid Bagheri, which is Iran's new drone carrier, just departed its home port for the first time 12 days ago and was last reported anchored in the Bandar Abbas harbor. So this is the new drone carrier, and this is in the harbor somewhere else. So this is kind of like, I mean, I didn't even think there was an anything drone thingamajig, like a drone carrier. I didn't think there was the slightest bit of truth to it. But this is what they do. They will say things, and there's a tiny glimmer of truth to it. So, I mean, I don't know if maybe he did that on purpose. But yes, this thing does. I guess there is some sort of drone thingamajig that Iran has. But it's not even, this is in I don't know where this fucking bay, this Bandar Abbas harbor, but it does not sound like it'd be in the United States. The Iranian IRGC's latest ambitious naval project, the drone carrier Shahid Bagheri, has sailed. The vessel appears to be on sea trials. It may now be anchored outside Bandar Abbas harbor. Work on the 240-meter ship, a converted merchant vessel, began in 2022, and she was launched in 2023. The ship's distinctive outline is visible in Sentinel-2. All right. Yeah, so there's... Okay, so they do have some sort of drone ship thingamajig. So I guess there could be truth to it, but it sounds like they're not there. The first drones were spotted on November 13th, but satellite images show that the Shahid Bagheri was still sitting in a Persian Gulf shipyard on November 12th. So, okay, there you go. Seems to be a little bit less likely. Mel says, like Iran just let its closest ally fall without firing a single shot, but we're supposed to believe they've got the balls, not to mention means and inclination, to park a mothership off the East Coast and launch spy drones at us for over a month. Yeah, sounds like bullshit. All right, guys, let's pop into the chat, and we're going to get into the reading for today. I definitely have plenty to cover more. You guys have been doing really good about feeding me information. I have somebody who in my DMs was telling me stuff. Brandon, I might get into that stuff tomorrow about a sex trafficking network that he wants me to look into. I might see if I can't find some stuff on that, and we can look into that. But you guys have been really helping me with content, to a point to where, I mean, the world is helping with content right now too. So it's going wild. All right, let's check in. Too small on phone screen, he's saying to tell. It says you can use a motor takeoff, powered paraglide, mountain launches, paragliding, both can gain altitude. Okay, so sounds like Joey Poopbag knows quite a thing about paragliding or not, and he couldn't really tell if it was a paraglider or not, but it looked like it could have been. All right, guys, disclaimer, this is going to be sensitive information that a lot of you may not want to hear. We are continuing our reading into the Dutroux affair. It's called Beyond the Dutroux Affair, the reality of, what is it called? I'm not scrolling all the way to the top. Beyond the Dutroux Affair. It's like the reality of something or other. But we are on the dismantling the investigation part. This is where we find out how the hell they, with all this information that seems to show that, like, hey, something incredibly sinister is going on here. Somehow this investigation just fell right apart. And we're going to get into the details of that today. For those who aren't aware, the Dutroux affair was this essentially like an Epstein like thing that happened in Belgium. There were royals involved. It's far more targeted at younger children. I mean, not to say that the Epstein thing wasn't, but that's like the common understanding most people have of Epstein. But so this is dark shit, like really dark shit. So I'm just letting you guys know that. So we may get into some of that here. So if you want to leave now, that's completely fine. But all right, let's get into it. We are on dismantling the investigation. The initial investigation into Dutroux Nihol was headed by Michel Bourlet, the prosecutor of the King and the Neufchâteau district, and examining magistrate Jean-Marc Connerat. These two men had gained somewhat of a martyr status because several years before the Dutroux case, they had been taken off the investigation into the unaliving of the socialist leader André Kuhls, apparently right before being able to solve the case. Then in 1996, when they finally found two missing girls alive, they became national heroes overnight. Which that kind of sounds like True Detective Season 1. It was Connerat who appointed BOB officer Patrick Day Bates and his team to the X1 case in early September 1996. In this function, Day Bates worked directly for Connerat and could work relatively autonomous from his superiors in the BOB and the overall gendarme. The first major change in the investigation occurred on October 14th, 1996. Connerat was removed as examining magistrate, the reason being that he had attended a fundraising for parents of missing children. The problem here was that Sabine and Letitia, the girls he had personally rescued from Dutroux's dungeon, were present at this meeting as guests of honor. The lawyers of Dutroux and Nihoul had gotten wind of this visit and began a successful procedure to remove Connerat, arguing that the examining magistrate had shown with this visit that he wasn't carrying out his investigation objectively enough, which is pretty messed up. So apparently he had literally saved the children he had personally saved his children from the dungeon, and because he went to a fundraiser there, they're saying he wasn't being objective enough to carry on the investigation. So that's how they threw him out. Pretty wild. I mean, let's be real. If you saved two girls from such an awful situation, you would think you would feel a kind of a, connection. You would feel a kindness or whatever towards them. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess you have to be fair. I guess it would make it hard for you to be objective, but I don't know. Anyways, although many wonder how Connerat could have been so careless, especially with such a sensitive case, there are quite a number of extenuating circumstances. For example, Connerat, who was on leave and had married earlier that day, made sure to pay for the plate of spaghetti he was given, made sure that he did not meet with the girls or their parents, declined to accept flowers from Letitia and Sabine, and handed over the fountain pen the guests had been given to a judicial registrar. Also, Connerat barely stayed an hour, but with his visit, he and Brulé, who also went, made yet another effort to change the consensus view that the Justice Department wasn't interested in parents or of missing children or victims of child abuse. Okay, well, it sounds like he went above and beyond to not seem like he's doing anything untoward, and he just seemed to want to be able to to show that they care and that they are working on this. So, all right. All these facts didn't matter, and Connerat was replaced by the inexperienced examining magistrate Jacques Langlois. As rumors of a cover-up had already begun to spread, the removal sparked massive protests all around the country. In Brussels alone, more than 300,000 people went to the streets in protest, the famous White March, but it changed nothing. As the prosecutor of the king, Brulé was not forced to step down. However, the examining magistrate does the majority of the in-depth investigations. Therefore, Brulé's hands were largely tied when Langlois came in and immediately decided that he didn't want to hear anything about the child abuse networks. Langlois became one of those responsible for dismantling the whole Dutroux investigation by ignoring countless leads and sending his investigators off into all kinds of bogus issues. Okay, so Langlois. So the Langlois guy was about moving things around, and Brulé sounds like he might have been just more a little bit newer or incompetent. Could be in on the take too. A second major change occurred in early December 1996. Until that point, as said before, the BOB officers working with the various ex-witnesses worked independently from the BOB and gendarme hierarchy. They had a supporting role in the Dutroux investigation and answered directly to Brulé and Connerat, and later on to much less interested Langlois. However, on December 1st, all the inspectors working on the sub-dossiers of the Dutroux affair, including the X-dossiers, were brought together in a large secured building just outside Brussels. Gendarmerie Commandant Jean-Luc Duterme, whatever. These names are fucking hard, sorry. Was appointed head of this investigating cell and was able to heavily influence the ongoing investigations. With Langlois and Duterme in place, the overall Dutroux investigation began to take a dramatic turn for the worse. In complete contrast with Connerat and Brulé, Langlois did not communicate directly with the interviewers of the various ex-witnesses, but went to Commandant Duterme instead. While Duterme secretly and without having the proper authority began to reread the testimonies of the ex-witnesses, Langlois dived head-on into leads that Connerat and Brulé had suspected from day one to be disinformation. The major examples would be the digs in Jumat, which were inspired by the bogus claims of convicted PDF Jean-Paul Raymakers, the November 1996 Oliver Trusknash case in which high-level politicians Elio de Rupo and Jean-Pierre Graffe were implicated as PDFs, the prominent December 12, 1996 search of the Gnostic Luciferian Satanic Abrasics cult. Which is it's a common thread people go on with that, which I guess is assuming that, considering he brought that up here, it sounds like maybe we won't. But I don't know. We'll more into that later, I guess. The Jumet digs in the Oliver Trushnock, God, these fucking names, case were complicated disinformation schemes ultimately meant to provide skeptics with examples that Neufchâteau investigators could easily be fooled by captured child abusers and fantasists who make up stories. In fact, in a truly Machiavellian way, Debates and his team were forced, without knowing anything about the case, to take up a primary role in the Tushnash case the day before all the soon-to-be discredited accusations would be published in the press. Police Commissioner George Marnette played a central role in both of these disinformation schemes, about which you can read in detail in the accused appendix. Why there? Because both X2 and Natalie W. identified Marnette as an abuser in the network. The Brassic story is less complicated. The following well-known newspaper report, published on December 29, 1996 by the Sunday Times, is one of the best examples in which some of the most accurate, albeit hard to believe, information appears to have been strategically mixed in with a central piece of disinformation. Satanic sects involved in bizarre rites, including human sacrifice, are being linked by Belgian police with this summer's string of grisly PDF murders. Ah, dang it. I said PDF, but then forgot the other word. I forgot to change the other word. All right. In which at least 4 children were unalived. Got it? 5 witnesses came forward last week and described how black masses were held at which children were unalived in front of audience said to have included prominent members of Belgian society. One investigator said it was like going back to the Middle Ages. The tentacles of the sect appeared to have stretched beyond the borders of Belgium to Holland, Germany, and even America. The witnesses, several of whom claim to have received unaliving threats, say that young babies were handed over by their parents willingly in return for money. In other cases, the victims were abducted. The witnesses, who were believed to have identified the sites where the masses took place to the police, said organizers had also taken participants and threatened to hand over their pictures if they went to police. The investigation centers on Abrasix, a self-styled institute of black magic, whose headquarters in the village of Fortiers-la-Marche in southern Belgium was raided by police last week. Human skulls were among the objects removed from the run-down building. Police have long suspected that Dutroux, a convicted PDF, was part of an international network which abducted children, abused them in a certain way, and then unalived them. Their activities appear to have been financed by the sale of CP videos filmed by the murders of the members of the Ring. Well, actually, I never mind. I don't know that it's CP. It's just P. So porno. There you go. I was just trying not to say the word for the YouTube censors. But anyway, investigators are still trying to determine the precise nature of the links between the Satanists and the PDF groups. In a separate twist, a Belgian newspaper claimed yesterday that a former European commissioner was among a group of judges, senior politicians, lawyers, and policemen who attended orgies held in a Belgian chateau and organized by Michel Nihoul, one of Dutroux's alleged accomplices. La Dernière Heure, which claimed to have a guest list, did not name the commissioner but said he came with a girl, Josette, nicknamed Jojo the Bomb. Everything mentioned in this article is accurate, meaning that this is what a number of anonymous witnesses were testifying about in Neufchâteau at that moment. Although not all spoke about Satanism, at least half of them did. But besides the exaggerated focus on Satanism, the disinformation here is that this whole satanic or sectarian aspect of the investigation centered around the Abrasix cult. The X dossiers had absolutely nothing to do with the Abrasix, and even though there might have been some circumstantial Dutroux/Weinstein-related evidence against the cult to justify a house search someday, there's no good reason why, with all those other promising leads, this questionable and highly delicate one had to be picked out for a premature house search. So it sounds to me like this was hiding in absurdity, in the sense that, like, it sounds like that whole Abrasix thing might have been kind of like maybe true, but it got flouted out there as part of this investigation to make it look ridiculous to the general public, all the while being maybe true is what it sounds. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, maybe true, but just hiding an absurdity to where like no one would believe it type deal. And he's kind of making the point that like, well, why did they even? He's saying it's only circumstantially and kind of like a weak connection. So the idea they would focus on this it doesn't make sense when they have much stronger leads. So which makes sense to me. Interesting way to manipulate information, assuming all of these assuming all the priors, like that that it was legit or whatever. All right. The basic idea was to discredit any future claims of Satanism and extreme abuse by bringing up the soon-to-be-discredited Abrasax affair. This motive also becomes obvious when one learns that Dutroux, with the consent of Langlois, scrapped all the 43 house searches recommended by Debates and Brûlé. Their list was based on the most promising information supplied by the ex-witnesses, which indeed included a former European commissioner, judges, senior politicians, lawyers, and policemen. By the time the Abrasax story hit the news, it was clear that Dutroux was in town. He had gathered a small group of vicious debunkers around him, the most prominent being Eddie Verhagen, Baudouin Dernicourt, and Philippe Porbach. When the main interviewer, Natalie W., suffered a stroke in late January 1997, Dutroux replaced this person and his partner with Dernicourt and Porbach. Natalie had trusted her first interviewers and although testifying was a huge mental challenge for her, she did provide certain names and details that matched with those provided by other ex-witnesses. This all changed when Dernicourt and Porbach went after Natalie like a couple of attack dogs. They managed to completely destabilize the victim in a matter of 1 or 2 hearings. In March, Natalie dropped from the investigation. The other BOB officer of Dutroux, Eddie Verhagen, played a key role in discrediting X1. In July 1997, Dutroux's first version of the rereads of the X interviews was done. Based on these rereads, Debates and his team were fired later that month, and Verhagen became the new chief interviewer of X1. X1 describes how things changed. The 2 BOB officers with whom I have to work from now on, come to pick me up for an informal talk. The 3 of us go and sit at a table in a village cafeteria. Eddie voices my suspicions in the following words. We don't care if it's true or not. The only thing that matters to me is my paycheck at the end of the month. I smile worryingly. Am I psychic after all? The discussion proceeds in the expected direction. The security and investigative brigade of the gendarmes thinks that the ball is in my court. I am the one who is to come up with evidence. They won't do any field or investigative work anymore. In these words, they ask for my cooperation. When I state that I do not have the authority to conduct searches, nor that I can come up with evidence if they are not willing to investigate, they just laugh at me. Eddie begins to insinuate that it all couldn't have been so bad. Because look, I have a husband and 4 kids. I have everything that I wish, and also, I can laugh. Come on, Eddie says rather loud. You also enjoyed it, didn't you? You can't say that everything was bad. You were in love with Tony, weren't you? Jesus Christ. After exactly 1 year of hearings in which I was treated with respect, I politely tried to explain my feelings. I wasn't in love with him. I loved him. Like a daughter loves her father. At least that's what she tried to convince herself as a young girl. I'm only really disheartened when Eddie and his colleague interrogate my friend Tanya. This happens in such a dehumanizing manner that I begun to feel sick. I'm having trouble with words. Sorry, guys. Her hearing is not recorded on video, and they know it. The 2 BOB officers eagerly use their power position to destabilize and intimidate Tanya by bringing up her personal life. They question her in an office where every BOB officer walks in and out of, and where my supposedly well-protected dossiers are up for grabs. Tanya asks what her personal life has to do with the case. After all, she did nothing more than encourage me to testify and made the first telephone contact with Conrad. Are you also a victim? Were you also in the network? You're not going to tell me that you didn't have anything to do with the network of Ginny. Have you known Debates a long time? Was this really the first time you spoke to him, the 4th of September 1996? Are you sure you were never in the prostitution? Are you really sure? This discussion continues along these lines the whole afternoon. Tanya is intimidated. Tanya even becomes so scared that she comes to me in the late afternoon, looks silent at me for a while, and advises me to stop testifying. For the first time, my friend understands my words just before she phoned up Conrad in 96. This is too big, Tanya. I can't do anything against my perpetrators. Debates and his team were fired on charges that they would have manipulated X1 into saying things that they wanted to hear. Continuous leaks to the press were organized in the following months that were supposed to prove this accusation. However, an official investigation had also been launched, and in 2000, the Court of Law in Brussels concluded there was no evidence at all that Debates and his team had been manipulating X1. So they swapped that later. So there was no evidence shown that they'd been manipulating her. One of the main accusations against Debates was that he had not filed an official report on the fact that X1 misidentified Christine Van Hees from a series of pictures. This turned out to be a lie, as this report, PV 117.487's December 6, 1997, had been written and properly filed by his assistant interviewer, Philippe Hupez. Hupez had written many other official reports about his work with X1, so chances that this was an honest mistake of Dutroux are pretty low. And even the simple accusation of the rereaders that X1 had misidentified Christine Van Hees as misleading, since the supposedly missing PV 117.487, Hupez explained it point blank that X1 intentionally didn't point out Christine. X1 testified to have recognized Christine between the pictures present to her, but does not identify the picture she recognizes. We conclude from this. 1, the picture P10 pointed out by X1 is not the victim she spoke about, Christine. Or 2, but the photo of the victim was among those shown to X1, which she intentionally didn't point out. Okay. A little confusing there, but I guess supposedly she didn't point it out. I don't know. Of course, it's reasonable to be skeptical about the claim of Hupez and Debates that X1 intentionally didn't point out Christine. It seems that either they tried to manipulate the investigation or it must have been very clear to them that X1 was not cooperating. According to X1, it is the latter. She explained, in order to judge objectively what happened there that morning, you need to be able to take a look at the tape of that hearing. You would see that after I pointed the picture P10, I looked at Debates and Hupez with an exultant look on my face. Like, and now it's your turn. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I was sick and tired of it. I wanted to go home. If I had pointed out Christine, Debates undoubtedly would have continued for another hour or 3. In my stubbornness, I wanted to make them feel that they should have given me more time. I take comfort in one thought, though. If the successors of Debates had not seized this opportunity to seed doubt and everything, they undoubtedly would have found something else. Okay, so to sum that up, it sounds like this is at the point in time where she's saying she's no longer wanting to cooperate with the investigation because she's seeing the writing on the walls that the fix is in. I mean, she's like sort of involved, but I think she's kind of understanding the futility is the impression I'm getting. And it sounds like this is one of the times where she's saying it was 7 in the morning. They're trying to get her to identify a photo. And she just ended up just not identifying at all because she knew if she had pointed out the correct one, because it sounds like they're rehashing, going back over information. And so they're using the fact that they went back over information. She wasn't able to, I guess, redo what she had supposedly done before. And that's their way of being like, oh, see, she's full of shit. And they were like leading the witness before, which, I mean, sure, maybe they could point to that, but it also sounds like she's saying that, like, I could tell this was not working. I wanted to go home. This was taking forever. I knew if I pointed her out, we were going to be there for hours longer, because it sounds like she's kind of already been through the ringer with it already. So, all right, that's just because it took me a minute to understand what the fuck they were getting at there. So I'm just passing on to you guys. All right, until the video of X1's interview is made public, there might be some lingering doubt about the explanations given by X1 and the interviewers. However, their stories are coherent. The interviewers were acquitted from accusations that they manipulated, and it has not been them who continually change their story. So the initial, because, keep in mind there's almost 2 sets of investigators here, almost like 2 investigations. You're the initial investigators that, investigate the case. They seem to be on the up and up. They seem to want to be making things happen. And then at some point they swapped out the main guy, Connor Ott. They swapped out some of the smaller guys here and there. And now she's working with different people. They're rehashing, it sounds like, a lot of the initial investigation they did. They're re-going through things and they're re-verifying things. Essentially, they've also accused the previous researchers or investigators or whatever of manipulating the witnesses. And obviously they come to find out that never got proven out. And it's a little bit hard to understand. I'm just trying to brush you up on that. There's almost like 2 investigations going on here, and the second one is like investigating the initial investigation. And it sounds like X1 did not really want to participate with that much, which I can't really blame her. All right, there are numerous other examples of manipulations by the rereaders. The authors of the X dossiers filed an entire book with them. In a number of chapters they quote large portions of the reports written by the rereaders and compare them to the original testimonies. Although in most cases it seemed intentional, one of the first things that came obvious was that Dutroux, not the other rereaders fully mastered the Dutch language, the language in which X1 testified. Dutroux would continually ask questions about passages which would be completely clear to anyone speaking perfect Dutch, like the author of this article. Dutroux probably made one of the biggest mistakes when he concluded from one of X1's statements that her grandmother had also been present at the unaliving of Christine Van Hees. The only thing that X1 had said here was, my grandmother also had those in her scullery, referring to meat hooks she had seen in the Champignon factory. In other case, Dutroux did not understand that the word bus has more than one meaning in Dutch. He apparently knew that it could refer to a vehicle that drives on the road, but forgot that it can also refer to a small container in which things can be put, a can or small box, usually metal. Describing the location where Christine Van Hees had been unalived, X1 at some point spoke about a bus containing a liquid. In another place, she called this object a jerry can. Dutroux wrote next to the sentence containing jerry can that this is a different object than the bus containing liquid described earlier, which is complete madness. Baudouin Dernicourt, who had come up with the false statement that Debates and Hupez had not filed an official report of X1 misidentifying Christine Van Hees, made even worse mistakes pertaining to Karine Claude Delart, which X1 was to identify from a set of pictures. X1 at one point stated, not that I saw, but, and, she wasn't in there also. In Dernicourt's translation, this became, I know that I saw her, and wasn't she in there also? So those are very different, obviously. Just incredible. Like completely different meanings. There are numerous other incorrect statements from the rereaders that were echoed all over the media. Take the following two sentences from a widely read newspaper report published on February 5th, 2004, just before the final Dutroux-Nihoul trial. On pictures of missing children which are presented to her, she, X1, identifies Lubna Benessa, Kim and Ken Heerman, and the Dutch Nach Zwaren de Zwarenstein as victims of the network. Later it would come out that Lubna was unalived by the psychopath Patrick de Rochette. Nach van Zwaren de Zwarenstein, God, that sounds like a made-up name, turned out not to be missing at all. The investigators had been mistaken when they showed this picture to X1, it turned out. Now let's take a look at the facts. Lubna was a 9-year-old girl when she disappeared in August 1995. She was found unalived on March 5th, 1997, in the home of the PDF Patrick de Rochette. Patrick. 4 days before this event, X1 had been talking about children she had witnessed being unalived in snuff movies. Debates at some point had asked if one of these children might have been Lubna, to which Regina's only answer was, could be. The rereaders somehow interpret this as meaning yes. The rereaders went on to claim that in this same interview, X1 had also stated to have witnessed the unaliving of Kim and Ken Heerman. This is also false. X1 had spoken about a brother and a sister. Debates had asked X1 outside of the official interview if this might have been Kim and Ken. Again, X1's only answer was, could be, I don't know. All right, obviously very different things. Besides echoing the false statements of the rereaders, most newspapers didn't report a whole lot about the Lubna Benessa and Kim and Ken Heerman cases. The parents of both these children had been treated very badly by the investigators. In the case of Lubna Benessa, separate leads to the law clerk of John Claude Van Espen, Christine Van Hees' case, and the Dutroux-Nihoul network have been ignored. In case of Kim and Ken Heerman, their mother, Tiny Mast, became a good friend of X1. She stated, I don't trust those people at all. It is they who lost the sweater of Ken. The kidnapper who had sent me that sweater, probably to scare me, I assume. In a normal country, that is a hyper-important element in the investigation. Traces might be found on it. Was a typo there, sorry. Well, they just made that sweater disappear. It is they who at a certain point told me in my face that I was the unaliver and that I'd better fess up. I can tell hundreds of stories which, if I compare them with what the Verwilgen commissioner labeled as mistakes, really stretch the imagination. Those guys are so aggressive and so inhumane that I sometimes feel that they are part of the same clique of those who took away my children. I believe Regina Loof, I really do. Wait, what the hell? Someone says, hey, like 3 weeks ago you had a different camera angle. Do it again. What are you talking about? What camera angle? You're going to have to tell me. Are you talking about from the other side? You don't like this camera angle? Okay, anyway, sorry. I just now noticed Robbins. I don't... Well, you tell me what angle you like better. Do you like this angle or that angle? I don't know. Whatever the opposite is, what I have right now, probably. Mostly, I've just been putting it kind of back here. I haven't been overthinking it. Sorry, getting off the beaten path. All right. For a change, the newspaper claim that X1 had identified Notch Van Zwaren de Zwarenstein is accurate. This happened during the same interview in which X1 recognized Katrin de Cooper. However, this case had no priority status, and X1 never said more than about Natcha than a girl, of which I think I have seen her at one point. Also, the newspaper claimed that Natcha turned out not to be missing at all is extremely misleading for a number of reasons. The 14-year-old Notch went missing on March 12, 1976, 3 days after one of her alleged friends, Paulette N., had also disappeared. The media made no big deal out of the event, especially not when Notch turned up on April 7th of that year in the Netherlands. However, friends of Notch told a disturbing story to investigators, a story which sounded awfully similar to the one of the ex-witnesses 20 years later. They named Notch's riding school, coincidentally the same as Christine Van Heese's, as one of the locations through which a child, kid slinging operation operated. This ring, in which Notch and Paulette had ended up, apparently provided services to several foreign embassies in Brussels and had connections in the Netherlands and England. One of the girls who knew Notch and Paulette were Joelle J. Besides regular abuse and beatings, Joelle also spoke about forced abortions, orgies at which children were cut to pieces, and people who had been beaten up or unalive for having spoken about the network. Other girls from this abuse network, Marie V. and Mirelle DB, backed up portions of the story of Joelle J. Immediately after Notch's return, she moved with her parents to the United States, but died there in 1980 in a traffic accident, which I don't know how much longer that was after. The 14-year-old in 1976. So at 18, she supposedly died in a traffic accident. Okay, maybe there's more to that. I'd be interested to know. Because it seems like she made some claims against, or other people around her made claims around important people. So, all right. Another argument that was used against X1 was the claim that Christine Van Heese's mother had tricked X1 during a confrontation on March 3rd, 1998. Van Heese's mother spoke about her daughter's trip to Canada just weeks before she was unalived and asked X1 if Christine had mentioned anything to her about this trip. According to Substitute Magistrate Paul Summers, X1 immediately remembered what Christine had told about that, but Mother Van Hees tricked X1 because Christine had never been to Canada. This was an argument that severely impacted the credibility of X1 in the eyes of those who until then were still willing to give her benefit of the doubt. All right, in early 1999, the Brussels lawyer Patricia Vandersmissen became interested in defending X1 against a constant barrage of press attacks. But before she could commit herself to the X1 case, she asked permission to access a portion of the X1 dossier to check a number of statements from X1 that had appeared in the press. One of those she was most interested in was X1's supposed confirmation of Christine's fictitious trip to Canada. The confrontation, which was led by Danny DePa, who betrayed DePate's team, and the notorious inaccurate translator Boudouin Dernicourt, was recorded on video and in writing. According to Vandersmissen, the mother of Van Hees, and in the meantime, she made a major trip. She goes to Canada. Did she never speak about that? And then Regina says, I don't think we ever had the chance to speak about those things. That's what has been written down, nothing else. I read the official report from front to back and from back to front. I restarted 3 times, continually looking if that mother had brought up the topic again. But no, this is everything that's been said about the trip to Canada. Nothing. Regina Loof says that she knows nothing about the trip to Canada. The truth has been reversed to the public. And so the disinformation game continues. There are so many examples and different aspects to discuss that the authors of the book, The X Dossiers, were able to fill a 500-plus large-page, small-type book with them. To summarize, the tactics used by the re-readers can be found in almost any other disinformation scheme. Most statements of X1 were ignored. A number of statements were invented and attributed to X1. Bizarre conclusions were drawn from isolated passages of the testimony of X1. Small details in X1's testimony that appear to be wrong were given much more attention than any of the more important aspects that appeared to be right. One-sided leaks were organized to the media. Debates and his team were portrayed as worshippers of X1, who in turn was portrayed as a self-absorbed, aspiring cult leader. All searches at individuals and locations named by the X witnesses were canceled. Except for a few bogus locations, searches were only carried out at the homes of the victim witnesses and at those that supported them. All right, that was a long portion, but we are going into next time, probably tomorrow, we're going into the questionably and extremely compromised researchers. So we're going to the researchers that popped in and threw it all off, made it less credible. Well, I appreciate you guys coming along today for the ride. Hope to see you guys again tomorrow. Should be doing this roughly about the same time at 10 Eastern. If you do want to be able to get this stuff early, you can do that over at or not early. This one doesn't come early. There's no Patreon perks here. I'm sorry. If you guys can come up with a Patreon perk for the morning shows, let me know. But I was acting as if this was like one of the paywalled shows for some reason. My bad. A little off. But what I was referring to is, like, for example, tomorrow we'll be dropping my my episode with William Ramsey, where we talked. It was kind of like a primer on Aleister Crowley. So it'll drop tomorrow. If you wanted to get it early, you can watch it now. Also, I'm going to do a live stream with one of the creators of the Jones Plantation movie. I mean, it's actually surprising it doesn't have much to do with the movie we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about conspiracy stuff. So pop in for that if you are a patron, but also just letting you know that's a perk that's there if you want to get that early content. Also, you can be a talking head on the video call portion of the show of Already Dead, the show I do with Austin Picard every Tuesday at 9:30. Or if you just want to support the show. At the highest level is my sponsors, and I read them off every episode as a thank you to them. I have my co-hosts on Tower Gang, at Tower Gang Toad, also have at AbragadeDees, at ZOVERACK, at _Infinite Zeal, Jacob Daniel, the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. You can follow him at Biblical Anarchy. And also Tim Tuttle, you can follow him at Jolly and Klebold. Then Will Bell has delicious rabbit eye wine. And then big fan of the show, at Real Josh Elliott. Then Torrin May as well. I appreciate you guys supporting me so I can do what I do. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Yeah, if you're still watching this right now and you haven't liked it, you're fucking up. Go like it. I want to see a bunch of likes on this, please. That helps. I mean, that's the least you can do. And if you feel like doing a little bit more, you can give me a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Those really do come in handy. So I would appreciate that. You can follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. That's one of the best places to tag me and stuff. If there's stuff you want me to bring on the show, I mean, most of the time I do bring it up. Probably I'd say well over 50% of the time when you tag me in something, it's going to get brought up in the show. So pop in tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. Deuces, everybody. Bye-bye.